news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon, Pinigigi, and thank you for your support. Support comes from the Walker Arts Center, an art space that's more than the spoon and cherry. Galleries celebrate contemporary visual art, including indigenous artists like Edgar Heap of Birds from the Cheyenne and Arapaho nations, and Jim Demeny from the Ojibwe Nation. Additionally, film screens, cinema, and performances are shown on stage. And the Walker is free every Thursday night and free every day for citizens and members of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org.
All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis invites you to experience Unchi Said So, a powerful new exhibition by Daniel C. Walker rooted in Native storytelling, collective identity, and community. Join us for the opening reception Friday, April 10th from 6 to 8 p.m. Through bold portraits and vibrant color, this work reflects generational knowledge, teachings passed down, and the significance of grandmothers in Native culture, reminding us that sovereignty begins at home. Plan your visit today at allmyrelationsarts.org.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
This is Chase Iron Eyes announcing a new show on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, powered by Native Roots Radio. The show is called Native American Patriot Talk Radio. What will we do on the show? We are going to explore and dive into the source of American constitutional sovereignty, the intersection of Native American and legal issues. Find us the first and third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. on AM 950.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for rain tonight with a low around 33, Saturday cloudy with a high near 39, and Sunday sunny with a high around 47. Enjoy authentic Chinese favorites at the Great Wall Restaurant. From hot and sour soup to sesame chicken and even their delicious Peking duck, you'll find it at the Great Wall Restaurant. Visit them at 4515 France Avenue to experience their full selection and learn more at greatwallrestaurant.us. That's greatwallrestaurant.us.
Good day to be indigenous.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Well, we have a really jam-packed show here. We got the president of Indian Collective on right now, and then later on in the show, we'll have State Senator Mary Kunesh on, and we're really excited. This is going to be an awesome show, as always. I want to bring on right away our guest in Wizipa, Garriott, and he's the president of Indian Collective. Welcome to Native Roots Radio.
Hey, Robert. Glad to be here. I love your intro and, talking about Native issues being human issues. And that's something that we really believe here as well. And, first, I just want to say, greet everyone with a good heart. And my name is Wizipan Garriott. I'm a citizen of the Sichavu Lakota Oyate, also known as the Rosebud Sioux tribe. And just glad to be here to talk with you and your listeners.
Yeah, thank you, Big Peanigigi. Thank you so much. And I would like just to, because we have new listeners all the time, just to remind everyone, you are the president of Indian Collective. Just talk a little bit about the history and where Indian Collective is, and then we have some issues that we really want to bring up today. Hoa.
Yeah. So I have the privilege of serving as president here at Indian Collective, and our mission is to build the collective power of Indigenous peoples, communities, and nations to exercise our inherent right to self-determination, while fostering a world that is built on a foundation of justice and equity for all people and Mother Earth, right? And I think that, when we think about our mission, there's some things that are really important within that. We talk about the inherent right of our people. We talk about the collective power of Indigenous peoples, communities, and nations. And we talk about justice and equity for all people and Mother Earth. And that's what I was saying, I really, kind of vibe with what you were talking about, that Native issues are human issues. Because when Native people thrive and Native communities thrive, the earth thrives and all people lives are made better. Here at NDN, we do our best to really try to live up to and lean into that mission. And we do that in a number of different ways. I think what's important is that we're not in a Native worldview. We try to look at the whole. We try to look at how things are connected, which means that we can't just have a one size fits all approach, or we can't just do one thing, because we need to have a systemic approach to our work. And what we do and how we approach it is several ways. First, a lot of people know NDN for our grant making. Resourcing Indian country, resourcing Indigenous people, and so we have our grant making, and over the last 5.5, 6 years, we've been able to remunerate over $110 million to Native peoples and to Indian country. Our footprint is Turtle Island, so that includes not only people in the United States, but Canada. Alaska, the Hawaii, the islands, and also Mexico. So we try to think about it as from that perspective, that this is Turtle Island and we're working together as people on Turtle Island. We also have as a part of that resourcing side of things, we also have a CDFI, which has made over close to $11 million in loans to individuals, businesses, and nations, and tribally owned nations, or tribally owned businesses. And so that's important too, that we really look at how we support our businesses and help build our economies. We also do a lot of organizing. We are helping to organize and help build power in people's own communities to stand up for those issues that are important to them. Because it's not about really us, it's about how we can help empower people, and that includes training. And so we do a lot of training. We spent a lot of time up in your area, up in Minnesota and in that area doing training recently. And then we also we're a national organization, but we're based here in Rapid City. Called South Dakota, and this is the heart of the Oceti Shakoni, the heart of the 7 council fires, where our sacred sites are. And we have several initiatives that are based here. One of which is we have a community development project where we're looking to build affordable housing, mixed use businesses. There's already a native languages school there at that land that we're developing, and it's going to be the future site of the Rapid City Indian Center, which we call Chesapa Otipi. And so we're really excited about that. We also have what we call our Bison Homelands Initiative. We often talk about land back for people, but what about land back for bison? if we're going to talk about and really lean into that, we have to be thinking about our bison relatives as well. And then we have what we call our Chisapa Restoration Act, which is about getting the federal lands here in the Black Hills back into ownership and control of the nations, the Lakota nations that actually own them. And then a final piece is what we call Protect the Chisapa, which is protecting, in the land. And we recently filed a lawsuit against the USDA. And I think we'll probably be talking about that a little bit more. But we have a whole initiative to really try to do everything that we possibly can to protect our lands.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And the amazing things that you do. We got like a couple minutes here left in this segment. And I think we should just really touch on what we're going to be talking about today in the next segment. And that's the work that you do to protect Mother Earth and its people. And I'm glad you talked about our relatives, the buffalo, and and that's really important to Native Roots Radio. We have a sacred animal section almost every day here on Native Roots Radio. So we really amplify what you're talking about.
I love that, and would be happy to talk more about that and delve into kind of what that looks like at some point. The Black Hills, is our traditional homelands of Lakota people, Chetishakoni people, and it's under constant attack, and it's under constant attack by mining companies, by mining operations. And of course, that was really the justification that the United States used to invade and break our treaty of 1868, when they said that they found gold in the Black Hills. And so this is, really rooted and has a long history here for our people. And so there's a lot more that we have to do to continue to fight that.
Hey, we are here with the president of Indian Collective, Wizipan, Garriott, and we are going to take a quick break. This is Native Roots Radio, and we'll be right back after the short break. Please stay with us. Ho-wah.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis invites you to experience Unchi Said So, a powerful new exhibition by Daniel C. Walker rooted in Native storytelling, collective identity, and community. Join us for the opening reception Friday, April 10th from 6 to 8 p.m. Through bold portraits and vibrant color, this work reflects generational knowledge, teachings passed down, and the significance of grandmothers in Native culture, reminding us that sovereignty begins at home. Plan your visit today at allmyrelationsarts.org.
This is Chase Iron Eyes announcing a new show on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, powered by Native Roots Radio. The show is called Native American Patriot Talk Radio. What will we do on the show? We are going to explore and dive into the source of American constitutional sovereignty, the intersection of Native American and legal issues. Find us the first and third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. on AM 950.
Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Did you know that the Walker has a cinema that shows film almost every week? From artist talks, genre-defined performances, and world premieres to archival shorts and experimental soundscapes, the Walker Cinema explores all modes of global and local filmmaking. Get your first tickets for free. Visit walkerart.org/cinema to learn more. That's walkerart.org/cinema. See you at the movies.
Annie, I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert Pilot, and this is Native Roots Radio. Hey, we're with Indian Collective President Wizipan Garriott, and we're going to be talking about some things that are happening with Indian Collective and how they're protecting Mother Earth and really doing great work for all us Indigenous people across Turtle Island. And again, thank you so much for coming on and really speaking your truth and telling and letting our audience know what's going on. It's really interesting. We deal with a mass media now that's really not telling the story, and stations and shows like ours, and I know you guys do podcasts too. Really bring out what's happening around Indigenous people, but also all around Turtle Island. So thank you so much for all your work.
Yeah, we appreciate that, and the truth is important, and so really thankful for your work as well. I think when we're talking about the truth, I think it's important to talk about some of the things that others may not know about, and a part of that is these constant attacks on Indigenous sacred sites all over Turtle Island, all over the country. And a part of our work, here in the Black Hills is, protecting a very central and sacred site. And it's not just a site, it's a landscape to us, which is called Peshla. And that translates roughly to the bald spot. And for us, it's significant because in our traditions, in our stories, in our history, that is where Fallen Star landed. When Fallen Star came to the earth, that is where he fell. That is where he landed, and he was a hero amongst our people that did many great acts and taught us many things from the Star people. And so for thousands and thousands of years, we've been going to this place, to this sacred site, to pray, to conduct specific ceremonies, to offer offerings and prayers, and that has been continuous for thousands and thousands of years. And it's kind of the entire top of a part of a mountain, and the entire thing is a part of this sacred site. And I think what's really unique is that a number of years ago, within the last decade, it's kind of there's private land that was there, and then U.S. Forest Service land surrounds that. And that private land went up for sale, and the tribes bought it back for $9 million.
Wow!
But they were not able to purchase the entire thing because it's surrounded by U.S. Forest Service land, and so part of the site is protected and under tribal ownership, but part of the site is not, and that's where the U.S. Forest Service owns lands. And a mining company called Peatline and Sons applied for an exploratory graphite drilling permit on the U.S. Forest Service lands adjacent to the tribal lands.
Yeah.
And that grant, that mining permit was approved by the USDA Forest Service. And when they did that, they violated the law on several, kind of aspects. They didn't do kind of the environmental assessments, the cultural assessments that are required. They did not do the proper consultation with tribal nations. And also, they just plain out violated environmental laws, and they granted what's called a categorical exclusion. And a categorical exclusion means that it's excluded from the NEPA process, National Environmental Act process.
Oh my God!
And that didn't happen, and they just got the application, and then administratively approved it, and that's a violation of the law. And so NDN, along with our partners, Black Hills Clean Water Alliance and Earthworks, we've sued the USDA Forest Service to stop that action, that mining, and to revoke the permit because they didn't follow the law.
Jeez. I mean, this is just kind of the administration bypassing and doing whatever they want, and it's amazing. Native Roots Radio started because of the Standing Rock situation with the lack of news and real news that was going on about really what's happening. So I just really appreciate you bringing this up. And one of the things, I have like a call to action. And what is one of your calls to action to keep on top of this and to have people finding out what Indian Collective is doing? Can you give the website and maybe some social medias out there so people that are listening to the show can really stay on top of this?
Yeah, if you want to just kind of look generally, just put in your search browser NDN Collective .org is our website. We have specific links to all of our work, but we have a press release on this that then has will link you to more specific information. We have just for the general public, a petition to request the U.S. Forest Service to rescind this permit, because they do have the legal authority to do so at any time. And I think that one of the biggest things that we're facing is just a lack of information amidst this information overload, because this is just one of many sacred sites that are being attacked across Turtle Island. And it's just one of many attacks on our sovereignty, on our inherent rights, not only as Native people, but just as humans, because of the authoritarianism that we're facing.
Do we know anything about Pete Lean and Sons? Where are they from? Because I know, like with Standing Rock, for instance, that was a foreign company that was digging pipelines. What do we know about these people?
So Pete Lean and Sons Mining Company purport to be a local community, small business, but we know that that's not always true, and that a lot of times what happens is you have multinational corporations that then back local companies to try to give the appearance that this is a US based company, or this is a local company taking this on. And quite frankly, if they purport to be a local company, then they should know better. Then they should know that there is a constitution that requires the honoring of Indian treaties, right? And so if you want to be a local U.S. company and you want to, talk about, patriotism and, all of that stuff, then let's follow the Constitution, which means and requires that we have to follow the 1868 treaty. And you have to go and get permission from the Great Sioux Nation if you're going to conduct mining activities in this area. But I think that's the appearance that they want to say is, hey, we're local, we're U.S. based. But I think that there's some compelling evidence that's to the contrary.
Yeah, I can imagine. So we have you collected over 6,000 signatures on the petition. Where can people find that petition? And also, I know it's really important that our listeners support organizations like Indian Collective. Maybe you can give us a couple clear places to sign this petition and also support Indian Collective.
The first thing, go to the landing page, NDN collective.org. And then if you go to our organizing section, you'll be able to see our various campaigns. We run fundraising campaigns. We have a legal defense fund. And then you can link to the petition right there. And again, I think it's really important that, folks not only talk to amongst each other and organize amongst our communities, but let's be talking to our tribal leaders, because they have an important role to play in this, and that we don't just need the local tribes here in this region, but we really need all tribal nations uniting together to oppose these kinds of extractive projects all over. We got to be united in that. And then also, your policymakers, right?
Yeah.
That can be at the state level for some of the local things, but also your federal policymakers. And we got to be supporting candidates, whoever they may be, that are going to be on the right side of good policy to honor our treaties and to protect Mother Earth.
Wow, perfect. And I just want to say one other thing too, is that one of the ways Indian Collective really educates our community and people that want to know our allies out there is Land Back for the People podcast that you can find out on your social medias, and it's a great show, and it's really educational for everybody that wants to catch up on what's going on here on Turtle Island. So Wizipan, Garriott, I just want to say a big Peeny Gigi, thank you so much for coming on. I know you're totally busy, and I really, really appreciate you stopping in Native Roots Radio and speaking your truth.
Awesome. Thank you. Really appreciate it. And hopefully we can come back and talk about some other stuff too, that's not only about protecting, but also developing, right? We talked about buffalo, and we got some cool stuff to share about that as well.
Well, you guys at Indian Collective always have an open invitation. So again, a big Peeny Gigi, thank you so much for all you do for our community and for our people and for the world in Turtle Island. Big Peeny Gigi, thank you.
Wopila, thank you.
Hey, this is Native Roots Radio. We'll be right back with State Senator Mary Kunesh. This is Native Roots Radio. Hoa. Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Local artist Rosie Simas, Seneca Nation of Indians, Huron Clan, embodies Onondaga philosophies of peacemaking and relationality in new immersive installation. Visit Age Jagwa Desnigowaweni. I hope it'll stir your mind and explore a space built for communal rest and contemplation. Simas presents a performance of the same name this May. Learn more about the exhibition and performance at walkerart.org. Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
This is Chase Iron Eyes announcing a new show on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, powered by Native Roots Radio. The show is called Native American Patriot Talk Radio. What will we do on the show? We are going to explore and dive into the source of American constitutional sovereignty, the intersection of Native American and legal issues. Find us the first and third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. on AM 950.
All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis invites you to experience Unchi Said So, a powerful new exhibition by Daniel C. Walker rooted in Native storytelling, collective identity, and community. Join us for the opening reception Friday, April 10th from 6 to 8 p.m. Through bold portraits and vibrant color, this work reflects generational knowledge, teachings passed down, and the significance of grandmothers in Native culture, reminding us that sovereignty begins at home. Plan your visit today at allmyrelationsarts.org.
Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Did you know that the Walker has a cinema that shows film almost every week? From artist talks, genre-defined performances, and world premieres to archival shorts and experimental soundscapes, the Walker Cinema explores all modes of global and local filmmaking. Get your first tickets for free. Visit walkerart.org/cinema to learn more. That's walkerart.org/cinema. See you at the movies.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
We are your relatives.
We are your relations.
Brothers,
sisters,
sons,
daughters.
And some of us are your grandchildren.
We are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for rain tonight with a low around 33, Saturday cloudy with a high near 39, and Sunday sunny with a high around 47. Enjoy authentic Chinese favorites at the Great Wall Restaurant. From hot and sour soup to sesame chicken and even their delicious Peking duck, you'll find it at the Great Wall Restaurant. Visit them at 4515 France Avenue to experience their full selection and learn more at greatwallrestaurant.us. That's greatwallrestaurant.us.
This is AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert Pilot, and we are with our friend, State Senator Mary Kunesh. Great to have you on, as always, to check in what's going on. And boy, we had some things happening. First of all, welcome, as always, and thank you so much for coming on. But boy, we had some Native stuff going on in the Supreme Court. Welcome.
Matakiape, everybody. Yeah, what a goofy situation with that Solicitor General Sauer and Supreme Court Neil Gorsuch. You know, it was so interesting because I was listening to it on the radio on NPR, this whole conversation and hearing about birthright citizenship and who should have it and who shouldn't have it. And, you know, I think it was Gorsuch asked the Solicitor General, you know, well, do you consider Native Americans to have like natural birth citizenship? And the Solicitor General was just like stumped about it. It was, and I mean, I was just like exclaiming out loud, like, what? This is a no-brainer. So it was really goof. I mean, he said, I think his statement was originally, well, they've been granted citizenship by statute, of course, referring to the Indian Citizen Act back in 1924. But, you know, and that's natural citizenship. I mean, we're indigenous. That's the word means the people that were here originally first. They should have that. And then he said, well, you know, like the statute aside, okay, the statute aside. I mean, he asked him directly, do you think Native Americans have birthright citizenship? And the guy, Gorsuch, really struggled with that. I mean, had he not ever thought about this? This must have been the first time somebody quizzed him about this. And, you know, it's like that a lot at the legislature.
Wow.
When people are legislating and they want to do things and you kind of stop for a minute and say, well, have you checked with the tribes? Have you been in conference with the tribes? And they're like froze and sort of dumbfounded, like, well, no, why would I? Why would we? Like, you should always do this. And then, you know, he Gorsuch was using the argument that citizenship is based on the domicile of the parents. So if the parents live in the United States and they have legal citizenship, then that child would then get that birthright citizenship. But if not, and so then Gorsuch asked, you know, him to be really clear and say, based on your argument, don't Native American children basically, based on the domicile of their parents, and think about it, generation upon generation upon generation.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he was just sort of dumbfounded and finally said, well, he thought so. They're lawfully domiciled here. And then he said, I'd have to think it through. And I think that's sort of the scary part, because you shouldn't even have to think it through. It should be like, well, duh. Yes, of course. Of course we, you know, the indigenous people, not only of the United States, but of North America, are indigenous to this lands. They've been here for thousands and thousands of years. So if anyone has inherent rights or domicile citizenship, no brainer Native Americans. And I just thought that was a bananas conversation.
But I'm so glad that you brought up that you deal with that on the state level too. It's not just a lawyer. You wonder how he got his law degree and his license, but also people that you work with. And I've seen them in action, and I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. You know, I have to say in probably the last 10 years that I've been at the legislature, because we've had Native legislators that are bringing these issues forward and asking those kind of questions, and then building the allyship of others to ask that question, like, have you talked with the tribes? Have you conferred with the tribes? Do the tribes know this? Sometimes, you know, things don't affect a tribe. Sometimes we don't know if it will affect a tribe, but, you know, those are sovereign nations within our state of Minnesota, and of course the nation of the United States. But there should always be some kind of conference when it comes to those things. I remember we were having a hearing about this big helium field that they found up north. And they were talking about how to extract that, and then, you know, how do we get a piece of that? And I asked that question, you know, well, have you conferred with the tribes, or what are the tribes saying? And again, they were like, well, we don't need to talk to the tribes. This isn't on tribal land. I said, how do you know? How do you know how far, you know, helium is a gas under the ground. You don't know where those deposits, you know, you can't find it. You can't see it. You can't define it because of its gaseous body. And they're like, no, we haven't. And I said, you need to talk with them no matter what. You need to confer with them. And whether it's like within a reservation boundary, or if it's near one, you know, it's going to have some effect on their tribal nations. And that was a hard conversation for some people to have, because I don't know if they didn't want to confer with the tribe, they didn't want to make it even more complicated by bringing more people in, or they just didn't want the tribes involved at all and didn't want them to get a piece of it. So yeah, we deal with this same thing here at the very state level, and I'm sure, you know, when you get to the county level, the municipality level, I mean, look at that school up in Bemidji that almost got closed. That is like 90% Native kids. Jesus. And you know, they have all the services. It's sort of like a wraparound service community school, where the services are there for the families, and they work with a lot of the families that are homeless or have instabilities in different ways. And they were going to close that one of all the schools to close. I mean, have you talked with the tribes, and have you really looked at the impact? Well, luckily, the Native community and the non-Native community just, you know, roared like, no, we need to look at this more carefully. Give us another year. And it was this close to closing. And the community convinced them to keep it open for at least another year. So,
wow. thanks for bringing that up. And as you were talking, and we are so, and I was involved in tribal government, and I think about how lucky we are in Minnesota. I can't imagine what goes on in these other states, and I know there's no Native American legislators in Wisconsin and all these other states. We're blessed to have you and a few others, I guess, educating constantly, but I can't imagine these other states.
Yeah, I mean, there are states of course, there are states that don't have any federally recognized tribal nations in those states, which blows my mind, that there are states that don't have Native American reservations or communities,
Right.
and maybe they have urban communities, but not federally recognized nations. But yeah, there are plenty of places where there isn't representation, which is why I always am hollering and yelling and screaming. We need more elected officials that are Native American descent, to do this work, because as I always say, I'm not going to be here forever, and I'm the only one in the Senate. Could really use some help, everybody. It's election year. Get out there and run for office in the Senate, please. But yeah, there's a lot.
Well, and it was cool that we got Shelley Buchan as a state representative, but yeah, you need help in the Senate, and that was amazing too that she was elected.
Yeah, especially since we are losing Representative Keeler.
Right.
Knock on wood that she moves on to the federal level, but it now leaves the two, Representative Kozlowski and Representative Buck. At least there's two there that I can continue doing the work with. But they've done in the House. They've done such an excellent job of educating and building that allyship with non-Native folks who are supporting our Native communities in every way possible. I've spoken about that constitutional amendment with the school trust lands, and I know that over there, they are reaching out to the tribes to confer. When I say over there in the House, they're to confer with the tribes to make sure that they understand what's at stake, what the benefits are, but also to ensure that they have the support. And that's what they should always be doing. So I'm glad that that's happening.
Yeah, that's amazing. And again, I just got to give you have been at this for 10 years, and Miss Allen before you, but to all that work and taxing work of constantly educating people, but also in the same breath, we're so lucky to have you and have our Native representation here, because again, I was dealing in Wisconsin and they have no idea. You really, they have a governor who's leaving that really respects the tribes, but we really have to really be thankful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, we're here with State Senator Mary Kunesh, and we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to jump on and do another segment and talk about what she's been up to and the future, and what's going to be happening this week. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio, and we're going to be right back after this short break. Please stay with us. Hoa.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe.
Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis invites you to experience Unchi Said So, a powerful new exhibition by Daniel C. Walker rooted in Native storytelling, collective identity, and community. Join us for the opening reception Friday, April 10th from 6 to 8 p.m. Through bold portraits and vibrant color, this work reflects generational knowledge, teachings passed down, and the significance of grandmothers in Native culture, reminding us that sovereignty begins at home. Plan your visit today at allmyrelationsarts.org.
I heard sex trafficking happens a lot in Indian country. What is that?
Here are some of the real reasons why sex trafficking happens in Indian country. Unequal gender roles that were forced on us by colonization. Communities don't have enough resources. Silence around domestic and sexual violence. Lack of attention and justice for missing and murdered Indigenous people. There's a lot of behavior that keeps our communities out of balance. These are just a few true reasons why Native communities are targeted by traffickers. When these acts of violence happen in our communities, it opens us all up for exploitation.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hi, I'm Tiergan.
And I'm Hadley.
We're two of the very first listeners, and we're
still listening to Native Roots Radio.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Native Roots Radio, and we are with our friend, State Senator Mary Kunesh, and we're talking about a lot of things. But I wanted to touch base with you, and I was at the King's rally at the Capitol, but there was so many other rallies going on. How did you spend Saturday last week?
Well, I did not go down to the Capitol. For one, I knew it was going to be a zoo, and I had my little granddaughters, and I didn't want to subject them to that. I thought that was going to be too much. There were members of the Senate that were there at 11 in their offices because they wanted to beat all the traffic and be able to park in our lot. But I ended up staying in my community. We have been through a lot in the communities that I represent. I'm just north, like the first community out of Minneapolis, like on the northeast side, so northeast Minneapolis, and then all my district goes south from there. And the ice surge was extremely intense and concentrated in my district because we have a large immigrant community here, businesses, people who live here, those attending schools. And we've been through a lot. We've been through a lot together. And it just felt to me like it was important that I was with my community members that had boots on the ground. And they were the ones that organized a really great rally just here in Columbia Heights. There's a bridge that goes over Central Avenue. And so I took my little granddaughters down there. We made signs that morning. We painted some No King signs, and the girls practiced No King, No King.
Cute.
Super cute. And so we went down there and got together with community, but my daughter had wanted to get over there. She and her husband had the twins, and so they live in St. Paul, and they tried to catch public transportation, but it was so overwhelmed. They couldn't get on any of the trains. The buses were like way behind schedule because of traffic. And so I drove the girls over to my daughter's house. And then my son-in-law put them on his bike. He's got this really cool bike for kids. And he rode his bike over there, and he said it was just crazy. Not crazy in that people were out of control, because it was a very controlled situation. Everybody behaved. But there were just so many people there. And so, I stayed in community and I was glad that I did.
Well, and that's a thing too. My community here in McRoveland, there was 4,000 people there. I mean, there were so many things to do, and being in community was what's so important. That you're not feeling these feelings alone, and you're not standing alone, and with the mainstream media not really reporting a lot of things, most of the things, you kind of wonder, am do I have to believe my lying eyes? What's going on? But to have community and everyone else feeling the same way, and whether it's good or bad or sad or happy, is so important. Yeah, I think it's just as important to be in your community in these big rallies.
Absolutely. And I ran into so many people I hadn't seen for so long. And a few folks that aren't in my district, but came to join into that district
Cool.
rally. And so, yeah, it was a great rally all around.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. Well, we like to also talk about what you got in store here as a state senator, and what's going on in the coming weeks. But wow, it's convention season right now. I just got my postcard for the 12th, where I'm going to be at our convention here, our local St. Paul collection, our convention, and so I'm excited to move on with that. Things are
Excellent.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah, I have my endorsement convention tomorrow
Oh,
here
wow.
in Senate District 39. I don't have a challenger in the DFL in our Democrat party, so I think I'll get that endorsement.
Yeah, yeah. That's good.
I think my community is happy with me, proud of the work that I've done. And we were talking about, allies for Indigenous communities. My community is always saying thank you, and we love what you do. We love you on Native Roots Radio. We listen to you all the
Yay.
time. But the
Yay.
legislation that I carry that focuses on our Indigenous communities too is really something that people like to see. Both of my House members, so every Senate district has one senator and two state representatives to their district, an A side and a B side. Both of my representatives are not going to run again. And
Oh,
so those seats are really going to be contested seats, because we have a really great community, and we have really great people that want to step up and represent it. So on one side, we have three candidates. On the other side, we have two candidates. All five of them are excellent community members, have been active in our communities, and it's going to be a really difficult choice. I don't know, maybe there won't be an endorsement at the end of the day for them, and they'll have to go to primary. But all across the state, we've had these endorsement conventions every weekend, half a dozen or more everywhere. And so it's always good, again, to get with our community. And there's so many new people that signed up to be a delegate that
yes,
can
yes.
be fabulous, meeting them, getting to know them, hopefully keeping them engaged in what's happening in our communities, and building up the power.
Yeah. I think what's really exciting to that and to our conventions, I just want to bring this up again. I brought it up yesterday with Robert Lilligren, but it's amazing that 30 seats over this. How is this written? It says Democrats have flipped 30 state legislative seats since Trump took office. Republicans have flipped none. So those are really good, really good reason to get out there and support our party and our people, and keep the ball rolling in the sense.
Yeah, I mean, it really helps to have new ideas and new experiences come in. Like I said, one of the candidates is the mayor of Columbia Heights. One has done incredible things with juvenile justice. Another is a medical doctor.
Wow.
Another is an environmentalist. Another, was our Senate district chair. So, I mean, these are really dedicated folks, but they are bringing their issues to the table as well. I just want to give a shout out to Representative Feist and Representative Cagle, who are not running again. They brought so much. Senator Feist is an immigration lawyer, so you can see why she might not be running again, because immigration lawyers are so needed right now. And Aaron Cagle was incredible on transportation and commerce. So it's just really great to have new people step up and bring a new perspective and a new profile to our legislature.
Exactly. I like that, the new perspective and bringing what they have, their knowledge into it. Hey, State Senator, I got 30 seconds here. Can you shoot out where people can donate and to your campaign?
Sure. You can go to my website, marykunesh.com, and I have a link there that you can donate. Appreciate anything and everything. I can't do this by myself, and so I really appreciate any and all the support that you have for me in whatever way you can.
Peony Gigi, thank you so much, as always, for coming on. This is Native Roots Radio. Everybody have a great weekend. Ho!
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis Air. Air